Welcome to Programming in C. This is session number 2 and I'm Manibhushan D'Souza. Today let us look at the programming fundamentals. So before we start writing a program, we must know what are its character set. So what is this character set? We know when we are familiar with our natural languages like English, Kannada and other languages. English has its own alphabets like A, B, C, D. Kannada has its own letters like A, A, E, E. Using these letters, we create a word. For example, in English, alphabets are combined in different ways to form a word. Words are combined together to form a sentence. A sentences are combined together to form a paragraph, and so on and so forth. So these alphabets like A, B, C, D, they form the primary things using which the entire English language is derived. So in C also, we have certain symbols that are used to create other things, other statements or other information. And that is what is called as a character set. So what is a character set? Character sets denote the letter, digit, punctuation marks or any other symbol that are used to represent an information in the programming language. So for example, Kannada, we use the different alphabets or the letters of Kannada, combine them together to form one word. Pada, we say that in Kannada. So similarly, in C, we combine a few characters to build the programming language. So character sets identifies those elements using which various statements and the structures of C program can be developed. So which are the character sets of C? When we talk about C, there are primarily three different sets of character sets. The first ones are alphabets, which is obviously the uppercase letter A to Z and the lowercase letter A to Z. Then we have numerals from 0 to 9 and then you can use special characters. For example, I can use blank, comma, semicolon, colon, plus, minus, division and so on. And you can see all the other type of special characters that we can use. So your C program can be written by the combination of uppercase letter, lowercase letter, numerals, or these special characters. That is why they are called the character set of C programming language. Now, as I've told you, using the alphabets in English, we build the words. So, a word is nothing but a sequence or a set of alphabets. So similarly, we know that what are the characters that are available in C. Using these characters, we can build a word in C, but we don't call that as a word in C. Instead, we call it as a token. So there is a small difference. In English, we call it as a word. Word is nothing but a set of alphabets. So in C, set of characters are not called as a word, but we call it as a token. So what is a token? Token is a basic and the smallest unit of a C programming language. So how a word is the smallest letter, the part of English. For example, if I say run, if I say play, these are words. If I say dog, cat, these are words. So when I combine this dog and make it as a dog, you get a meaning. Similarly, when I combine the characters together and make a token, that makes some meanings to the C programming language. So tokens are nothing but they are the basic building blocks that can be put together to construct the program. There are 6 types of tokens which are available in C and they are called as identifiers, keywords, constants, strings, operators, and special symbols. So let us look at a few of them in this class and the remaining we will see it in the other class. So let's start with an identifier. The word itself says identifier is used to identify something. For example, if I want to identify you, I must know what is your name. If I want to identify this country, I must know what is the name of this country. If I want to identify this state, I must know what is the name of this state. So a name is given to identify something. So this is what is called as an identifier. So what is an identifier? Identifiers are the names given to the various programming elements. So if I want to identify some part of a C programming language, then I must know the identifier. So using the identifier, we can identify something called as a variable. You are not familiar with this. We will come to know about it in the subsequent sessions. So I can identify variables, arrays, structures, function, and so on and so forth. So these are used to identify the variables, the arrays, the structure. For example, the names are used to identify a person, a country, a city. So names are given to identify something. In the same way, identifiers are used to identify variables, arrays, structures, and functions. So when you know very well, whenever somebody, a name has to be a newborn child, and a name has to be given to a newborn child, there are some rules. Some people go to the Pandit and ask what is the name, and the Pandit will say that the name must start from this letter and it must have so many characters. So, similarly, when we say identifiers, there are some rules that need to be followed, some do's and don'ts. So, for example, you don't give a name to a person called as a devil, and I can't say he is Mr. Devil. So people will not uh, take that thing. So when we say I am giving some name, the name must have some rules that need to be followed in order to give a name. Similarly, when I say identifier, which is nothing but a name, I must follow certain rules. So what are these rules? The first rule is the first character of an identifier must be a letter. So what is the meaning? Similar. For example, I can say he is Mr. 123 Dinesh. That is not a good name. So I can say Dinesh, I can say Suresh. So the first letter is starting from a first character in that name is a letter. So India, I is the letter. So it always starts with one alphabet. Karnataka, K, if you write it in English for that matter. So K starts with the letter. So similarly, when I say identifier in C, they must start with a letter. You cannot start an identifier with a number. I can't state 9 and something. So 10 and something, 2 and something. Can't start with a number. So you must identify. However, you can start a identifier with an underscore. This is allowed. So for example, if I say underscore xyz, this is allowed. Okay, but I cannot say 1 to xyz. This is not allowed because you are starting with a number which is not allowed. So identifier must always start with the a letter. Next one, this is the old restriction. Identifier can go up to a length of 31 characters. Above this, identifiers cannot go. Next one, identifier can have both uppercase letter, lowercase letter, and very important thing, C is case sensitive. So what is the meaning of this? If I say cat in small case, if I say cat in capital, or if I say cat in a mixed case, all of them are identifier. They are valid because I'm starting with the letter. This I'm starting with the letter. This I'm starting with the letter. However, I cannot say one cat. This is not allowed because it is starting with a number, and you know very well it must, the first letter must be a character. Here this is not an identifier. However, all of them are identifier. For us, this is same thing, this is same thing, this is same thing. All of them are cat. But for C, this is a different identifier, this is a different identifier, this is a different identifier. So you must understand that C distinguishes between capital letter and small case letter. So if I say dog, and if I say dog, they are identifier but they are not the same. One is in small case, the other one is in capital. So C, that is why we say C is case sensitive. So it is case sensitive. Okay. So next one, identifier should be a single word. So you cannot say, okay, for example, you cannot say, let me remove this caps lock. So you cannot say Dakshina space Kannada. This is not allowed. Okay, why? Because in between there is a space. You cannot have it. If at all you want to create a identifier, you can use Dakshina, then Kannada without space. You have to write or you can say Dakshina underscore. This is not minus. This is shift minus Kannada. Okay, this is allowed. So if at all you want to separate the two words, use underscore but not the space. So space or blanks are not allowed. There is in real life also there are some words which you cannot use in your to name something. So some words have the meaning. For example, I cannot call somebody has a for example, if I just say if I cannot say this he is Mr. Water. What is this? People will laugh at it. Water means there is a meaning for it. I cannot say she is Miss Car. It is not allowed. There is a when I say car, you get some uh, picture in your mind. When I say bus, you get some picture. When I say plane, you get some picture. So that word is already fixed to something. If I say mango, what you get? You don't get mango means you got one picture in your mind. It is already associated with it. So this is called as a reserved word. You cannot use it for your purpose. So in C also there are. It is not car, water, and other things. C has some words which are reserved, which have their own meaning. You cannot change their meaning. So what are these reserved words are called as? In C we call them as keywords. So keywords are the reserved words. Why they are reserved? Because their meaning is already predefined in C. When I use that word, for example, if I use this word, if C has some meaning. For how I told you when I said mango, if I say jackfruit, if I say pineapple, you get some picture in your mind. Similarly, if when I say if, when I say else, when I say while, int, float, and so on, with these words have. When I say this word, C knows what is its meaning. I cannot say this mango and say I cannot point to a car and say, see, this is mango. You will say that as a car, that is car, it is not a mango. I know what is mango. So similarly, when I say while, there is a meaning for C. I cannot use it for while as a name. So C will say, I know what is while. You don't teach me what is while. So that is why these are called as keywords. So why do we use them? So you know very well these words. For example, this. You know what is why you are using this is a sentence. You know, okay. So you know these are words are there, verbs are there, and so on. English. I'm not going to teach you the English grammar now. So these keywords are used as a basic building block. So in whenever your English teacher has told you there is a noun, there is a pronoun, there is a verb, there is adverb, then you combine them together to form a single word. Similarly, these keywords has to be combined together to build the program statements. So that's why their meaning is defined. If you change the meaning, you cannot. Suppose this is, why is used. I cannot change its meaning. If I change the meaning, entire English will change. So that is why it is not allowed. Okay. So next one is the meaning of the keyword cannot be changed. Okay. And other one is in C keywords. One, this is very important thing. One good thing about C is in C all the keywords are written in lowercase. So this is good thing. So what is the meaning? If I cannot use the word if, I cannot use this. But if you still no, I want to use this if. This capital if and this small case if, they are not the same. Why? Because I have already told you C is case sensitive. What is the meaning of saying C is case sensitive? C will distinguish between capital letters and small case letters. So if you want to use no sir, I want to use this word while, then use the capital letter while, or start with the capital and then use this while. This is not the same as this because this is a small case, this one is a uppercase. So all keywords of C, they are all in lowercase letter. This is that's all in this class. We will meet again in the other classes. Thank you for your interest.